If you ever said, I'm ready to change, and then found yourself avoiding the very step that would help, this isn't a lack of willpower. It's your nervous system trying to keep you safe. Hi, I'm Janine Naus, your grief and trauma relief specialist. I'm glad you're here with me today. Showing up for a conversation like this takes courage, and I honor that. So today we're talking about self-sabotage, the moments you procrastinate, pull back, overthink, or say, not yet, even when part of you deeply wants change. What looks like resistance is often self-protection shaped by past experiences. You're not broken. The patterns you've developed once kept you safe. The problem is what protected you then may be what keeps you stuck now. In the next few minutes, I'll help you understand why self-sabotage can feel safer than success, notice where it quietly shows up in your life, and practice one small, doable step that begins to shift the pattern. You can participate silently if that feels better. And if anything feels tender, pause, breathe, and rejoin when you're ready. Now, if this resonates, stay with me. By the end, you'll have language for what's happening inside and one compassionate action you can take today. So let's begin by naming why self-sabotage so often feels safer than moving forward, even when we want that change. When you live through trauma, your nervous system becomes wired to protect you at all costs. And that wiring often equates new, unfamiliar, or different with danger, even if that change is something good. So when you say you want healing or growth or even joy, but then feel yourself pulling back, procrastinating, or shutting down, this isn't weakness. It's your nervous system whispering, stay here, at least here. I know what to expect. Now think of it this way. Self-sabotage isn't really about ruining opportunities. It's about creating a sense of control in a world that once felt out of control. And for many survivors, that instinct kept you safe when chaos, hurt, or unpredictability felt unbearable. Now, I'd love to know if this resonates. Have you ever found yourself saying no to something you truly wanted simply because it felt too risky, too big, or too uncomfortable? If you feel comfortable, drop a quick yes in the comments. And if you'd rather just notice quietly inside, that's perfectly okay too. So there's no right or wrong here. Even the act of noticing is healing. You're beginning to see your no not as a failure, but as a survival strategy that made sense at the time. And yet, while those strategies once protected you, they can also carry a hidden cost. So let's take a closer look at what happens when saying no becomes the automatic choice and how it quietly keeps us stuck. See, on the surface, saying no or pulling back through self-sabotage feels like stability. And it feels like you're keeping things under control, holding the pieces together, and protecting yourself from disappointment. But underneath, those repeated no's carry a cost, and often that cost is invisible at first. So every time you say no to support, you strengthen the belief that you must carry everything on your own. Every time you say no to rest, you reinforce the idea that your worth is tied only to what you do or give. And every time you say no to opportunities for healing, you repeat the story that you're not ready, not deserving, or not enough. And these small no's add up over time, and they quietly deepen the weight of grief, shame, or stress you're already carrying. And they keep you living in survival mode, bracing for the past instead of building a new future. And I want to pause here to check in with you. Now, have you ever noticed how these small no's pile up in your own life, maybe leaving you feeling heavier, stuck, or even hopeless? Now, if that's true for you, you can share with a word in the comments or just simply hold space for the awareness inside. See, both are valid ways of engaging. Noticing these costs isn't about judgment, it's about compassion. Because once you can see the impact clearly, you're already one step closer to choosing differently. And I want you to know you're not alone in this. I've wrestled with these same patterns too. And let me share a piece of my own story because I know how real the struggle with yes can and no can feel. And I want to be really honest with you here because I never want these sessions to feel like me talking at you from some perfect place of healing. The truth is, I've wrestled with self-sabotage too. There were seasons in my life when I would pour myself into creating something meaningful, where right when it was time to share it with the world, I'd stop myself. I'd think, maybe later. I'm not ready yet. I need to do more. But underneath those excuses was fear. Fear of judgment, fear of disappointment, fear that if I tried and it didn't work, it would prove I was broken. And so I said no again and again. No to opportunities, no to letting people in, no to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, things could be different for me. But here's what I eventually realized. Every no didn't just protect me from risk, it also kept me from the life I longed for, from ease, from joy, from peace, from the chance to breathe fully and feel free. And eventually, the weight of staying stuck became heavier than the fear of trying. And that's when I began experimenting with yes. Not huge leaps, just small ones. Yes to writing down what I was really feeling, even when the words were messy. Yes to sharing one honest sentence with someone I trusted, even when my voice shook. Yes to believing, even for a moment, that I was worthy of more than survival. And slowly, something began to shift. Each small yes became like a crack in the armor I had built around myself. And in those cracks, light started to come through. Healing didn't arrive all at once, it came drop by drop, yes by yes. But each one opened a little more space for life to grow again. And that's why I want to share a gentle practice with you now. Because saying yes doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be a small, safe, and simple. And those small yeses are what begin to create lasting change. So now that I've shared a little of my own journey, let's talk about how you can begin experimenting with your own yes in a way that feels safe and manageable. And here's the truth. When you live in survival mode, your nervous system learns that anything new equals danger. And that's why even positive change, like asking for help, resting, or speaking up, can feel overwhelming. But the beautiful thing is this, your nervous system can also learn through safety. It rewires when you give yourself small, repeated experiences of saying yes and discovering you're still okay. So here's a gentle practice. The next time you notice yourself pulling back from something you truly want, pause and ask yourself, is this really me not being ready? Or is this my nervous system trying to keep me safe? Then instead of a big leap, choose one small yes. Maybe it's yes to resting for 10 minutes. Yes to writing down what's on your heart, even when the words feel messy. Yes to reaching out to one safe person. Yes to saying no to something that drains you. Your yes doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to belong to you. And each yes becomes a signal to your body that growth can feel safe too. So, to help you anchor this even more, I want to give you a journaling prompt you can use after this session to explore what your own yes might look like. And one of the most powerful ways to notice your patterns and to gently shift them is through writing. Journaling slows down the swirl of thoughts. It gives your nervous system room to exhale and lets your truth rise to the surface without judgment. So here's today's journaling prompt, and I'll say it slowly so you can write it down. What is one small yes I've been afraid to give myself? And what might change if I allowed it? Now, let me repeat that again, just in case you want to write it word for word. What is one small yes I've been afraid to give myself? And what might change if I allowed it? There's no right or wrong answer here. Your yes might be as simple as pausing before you respond to someone, or as personal as reaching out for support. Whatever comes up, it matters because every yes, no matter how small, creates space for growth and healing. And if you're ready to take another small yes with me, I want to share how we can explore that together. So if today's session spoke to you, if you saw yourself in some of these patterns of hesitation, pulling back, or getting in your own way, I want to invite you to take one small yes with me. I offer a free healing connection that's a no-fee clarity call. And this isn't just a conversation. It's a guided 30-minute process designed to help you feel seen, heard, and supported. Here's what we'll do together. We'll identify one self-sabotage pattern that's been showing up for you, uncover how that pattern connects to your trauma story so you can see it with compassion, not self-blame, and discover one practical healing step you can begin right away to shift out of the survival mode and into growth. Now, by the end of our call, you'll walk away with more clarity, more confidence, and one more gentle next step that feels safe and doable. This isn't about fixing everything in a half an hour. It's about giving you a supportive space to say yes to yourself, maybe for the first time in a long time. Now, the link is in the comments if you're ready. And consider this your invitation to take that small yes because your healing matters. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is give yourself permission to begin. I want to thank you for being here with me today. And remember, self-sabotage isn't failure, it's protection. And every small yes is proof to your body and spirit that growth can be safe. I look forward to seeing you in our next healing step session. So until then, be gentle with yourself and have a great day.